What's up, everybody? It's your boy with the broken mic, aka DubsNotSubs, and welcome back to another video. Now, in today's video, I am very excited to bring it to you guys because we're going to be looking forward towards the most premium, the most supreme, the top of the line of manga, because it is my opinion of the best manga and the manga that I am most looking forward to in 2022. But on a serious note, we're going to be looking at my top 10 picks for 2022. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. So, I hope you all are having an absolutely amazing week. I'm having a good week myself, and I cannot wait to tell you and give you guys my opinion on what I'm most looking forward to in 2022 for manga, because there is a lot of series out there that I'm really looking forward to. There's a lot of bangers out there and a lot of amazing series that we're going to be able to get into this year, that some we haven't been able to see before, and they've been in Japan for a long time, and a lot of just brand new series that are coming around at the same time. Obviously, all of these come out in Japan before, but we get to see some series that are some classics, some absolutely amazing series getting released for the first time ever, and I cannot wait to get into it. And I'm not going to be going into any manga that was released already, so anything in January and February, and I'm just going to be covering all the manga that is going to come out for the rest of the year, except for one title which already came out, and that is in my honorable mentions. I don't have any series that are already released in my top 10, but I had to cover this one because it's just special like that, you know. It deserves an honorable mention at the very least. But there is so many manga to get into, and there's going to be an absolutely amazing number one, in my opinion, because I've been waiting for this in a long time, and I cannot wait to tell you guys what it is and to get into that. So make sure to stick around for that, because I think a lot of you guys are going to be really looking forward to it, and probably forgot it even got announced already. But let's get into the honorable mentions first. So for our first honorable mention, we have The Girl from the Other Side Deluxe Edition, and there are going to be 4 honorable mentions. 2 of them are re-releases and special editions. So we're going to get into the first one, which is The Girl from the Other Side. This is an absolutely amazing series. I really, really love the concept of it, of the darker, mysterious tone that's going on, which has a theme in another one of the top 10s that I'm going to be getting into later on. But this series just has such a cool aura around it, and atmosphere and just tone and all this cool stuff for it, and I cannot wait to finally delve into it for the first time, because I have never read anything about it before except for chapter 1, which really made me love the series and really made me want to check it out and read it and just get into all of the series. So I'm really excited to be able to get it in this deluxe edition size, and then we get to really get into that nitty-gritty detail and such a special premium type of quality for this series, and I cannot wait to finally be able to know what's really going on here, what all the characters are getting into, which, by the way, they all look super cool, and I really like this kind of like disease or maybe monstrous kind of thing. I don't know what's going on in the world, so don't believe anything I'm saying right now, because I don't know what's happening in it. And I just love the world that is crafted and the ambiance and just everything about it really, really pulls me in and makes me want to read it. Even though I've only read 1 chapter of it and it was a long time ago, it lives rent-free up in here and I can't get it out. So I have to do it, and I have to finally get into it. And this is an absolutely amazing series, and I hope most of you guys agree with me that it's an amazing series, because a lot of people probably will disagree with me on some of my picks, because you know I kind of be out there a little bit with some of my stuff that I'd be reading. If you guys know the kind of series I like, I'm kind of in my own universe out there, orbiting on some strange planet. But we're going to be getting into the next honorable mention right now. For our second honorable mention, we are going to be getting into A Silent Voice, the Deluxe Edition. Now, this series is one of the best series of all time. It is my #1 anime movie of all time. It hits me in a different spot, takes this heart, breaks it, and then stitches it back together by the end of it. And I know the manga is a lot different. I already own the box set for it, but for this collection, we're going to be getting, I believe, like Berserk Collector's Edition size manga, 3-in-1s, and it's going to be an absolutely amazing thing to add to my collector's set and like all my other manga, because I absolutely love this series, and I cannot wait to get anything A Silent Voice related and just get my hands on, grab it up. I'm gonna be like probably not reading it, to be honest, because it's gonna be like one of those pristine collector's items where you don't really want to mess any of the seams up, make it dirty in any way. So I'm probably just gonna get it in a nice little plastic box, put it in the middle of some room, and then like a pretty jewel that's in a museum, I'm gonna have everyone look at it and be like real jealous of what's going on there and be like, oh, I wish I had that. yeah, but they'll never get it unless they go to the store and buy it themselves. But this series is so good. It really touches the heart. It really brings up some really interesting conversations and some interesting topics that are absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love this series to the end. Alright, next up, we are going to be getting into Blue Lock. Now, I'm going to read the synopsis of this because I haven't really delved into the series that much, and I kind of know the general idea of it. I've read a couple chapters of it, but I think the synopsis is going to do a better job at explaining it than me, and I want to get you guys hyped up for it better than I could probably explain it at the moment. So, let's get into it. After reflecting on the state of Japanese soccer, the Japanese Football Association decides to hire the egomaniac and eccentric coach Jinpachi Ego to achieve their dream of winning the World Cup. Believing that Japan has lacked an egotist striker hungry for goals, Jinpachi initiates the Blue Lock, a prison-like facility where 300 talented strikers from high schools all over Japan are isolated and pitted against each other. The sole survivor of Blue Lock will earn the right to become the national team's striker, and those who are defeated shall be banned from joining the team forever. This is basically like a death game, but nobody dies, actually, so that's kind of a plus for it. You're not just murdering high school kids. They're just getting banned from their dream forever. Little cold, hard tastes of reality. But this manga is insane. If you don't like soccer, still give it a chance. I promise you. I don't like soccer at all. It's just not my sport. I like playing it, not watching it. I'm not into the sport at all, in any of the MLS or anything like that. But this series is on a different level from that. It's like the same thing with Haiku. If you don't like volleyball, you could still love this series. Promise you. It is absolutely insane. The art, another level. It just takes like all the other basic art there, throw that off of a cliff, then you got that thing left up there because it's just that amazing and on that top tier of a level. The art is so good. The characters are all crazy and wacky from what I've read so far, and it's just an absolutely fantastic read. And shoot, it really just pulls you in and makes you just want to flip through every page, and it really puts in that killer instinct that a lot of series try to imitate for sports series, and it just kind of puts that as the forefront. It's like the killer instinct, obviously, when trying to find an egotist or like the number one soccer player or soccer striker. This series like accentuates the fact of like that killer instinct, that Mamba instinct or something that all sports players kind of have in them when it comes down to it, that fight to get that last point or that last score to win. It's just, it really accentuates that in such a perfect way. It's so cool. I love it so much. The characters are crazy. The story is really well paced and really good, and I honestly really recommend this, and I can't wait to get into it for 2022. And last up, for the honorable mentions, we're going to be getting into Kaiju number 8. Now, this is the one where Volume 1 is already out, so this you can go get right now if you want to get it, and trust me, you want to get this. This is like if Deku became a 40-year-old man and got all his powers instantly instead of had to build them up like you see in My Hero Academia. But this series is absolutely amazing. I know that a lot of this stuff has been done before, but it's just an over-the-top fighting series that is just such pure good shonen right now. Like, it is on that top tier level for it, and the reason it's not in my top 10 is strictly because that a series has already been out, and I already told myself that I would not put something that was already released in the top 10. But let me tell you right now, it's in my top 10 for me, and I am okay with saying that because, man, if you guys have not checked this out, give it a chance. You like your shonen stuff, you like My Hero Academia, you like One Piece, you like Bleach, you like Naruto, you like your over-the-top fighting stuff, One Punch Man, Mashley that's coming out right now, you will love Kaiju number 8. It is so good. The character has that Deku kind of feel to him where he wants to save everyone and be the hero and all that kind of stuff, but that's okay because I love it, and I think that it really fits the story very well. The art is absolutely amazing. I love the art. Getting to see him fight all these kaijus is absolutely amazing. Getting to see the characters and how they're drawn, all super unique, all super cool. Well, the character archetypes themselves aren't the most unique. I love the characters themselves and how they look. The story is really cool. I love what we're watching right now. He's just trying to survive as a kaiju and not end up putting down without getting into too much of the story and spoilers. Kind of a little tidbit there, what's going on inside the world, but it is just so cool. And watching the enemies, and at first I thought this was going to get stale very quickly for me, seeing how the enemies were very shown as power scaling kind of stuff, but man, can I say I was wrong? Man, watching somebody just punch and blow up things and giant fight scenes, it's perfect. It scratches that itch and makes you just feel whole on the inside. It really makes you want to just keep going, man. It is so amazing with that top tier fight scenes that are just like pure essence of shonen over the top stuff. Dragon Ball Z, Kamehameha, boom. That's pretty much how I describe the entire story, because it's just so much cool, great action that goes on. And if you like your action, you like your fighting stuff, you will love this series. Trust me, it is so good. The art really makes this series come alive. The characters are great. They're fun to follow. Not the most unique thing in the world, but it's still an absolutely fantastic and such a solid shonen series. And without further ado, we've done our honorable mentions. Now it's time to get in to the top 10. Alright, let's start off this list right. And we're going to start up with a Shonen Jump Plus series that has been out for the entire year. I don't know if it's over yet, but I know that it is very close to the end if it's not. I've been reading this right now on Manga Plus, but they're going to be releasing a physical version very soon. Also, I don't know if I said this already, but all this manga that I'm doing for top 10 is the top 10 English manga that's coming out in physical editions. So if it has a digital series, it's coming out in hardcover, it is on the top 10 and can be on there. I'm sure you got that from the previous stuff, but I just should have said that right now because I didn't really think about it, and I think it slipped in my mind just to be sure that I'm covering all my ground and my bases and people aren't confused. But we have Summertime Rendering. Now, this is a sci-fi series, and it is one of the coolest series that I've read in a long time. I love my sci-fi, and here is the synopsis real quick. After his parents died, Shinbei Ajiro lived with Kofune sisters Mio and Ushio, but he has since moved to live on his own in Tokyo. But after Ushio drowns while trying to save the young Shiori Kobayakawa, he returns home to mourn her departure. However, bruises around Ushio's neck bring her cause of death into question. Taking a step back, Shinpei, convinced there must be another explanation, dangerous entities roam among the islanders, and a vision of deceased Ushio asks him to save Miho as her final request. He is certain that something is afoot, and Ushio's death is the only piece of the puzzle. So, this story is a sci-fi, not really going to get into everything about it for the genres because I think it's better for you guys to find out as it goes, but it's a sci-fi mystery thriller series with some other elements in there that I'm not going to tell you about, give you a little speckle of what's going on there, but it's an absolutely amazing series with obviously Ushio dying. It's kind of the murder mystery. Why did it happen? What's going on? Something's afoot in this town. Type of feel to it, and we get to see that all this stuff is going on. There's so many intricacies, so many plot lines that are getting weaved, and so many different characters you meet along the way that are absolutely amazing. It is such a good and well-crafted storyline that really creates so many mysteries and really pulls you into the story and makes you want to know what's really going on this island, and really makes you want to see what is really happening here and why it's happening. The art is absolutely amazing. I love the characters. Very, very cool. They're kind of unique, kind of same at the same time. They're not 100% generic, and they're not 100% unique, you know. So, it's a good mix amount of safety and difference for most of these characters. They're super cool. I love the protagonist. Ajiro is an absolutely amazing protagonist. He's fun to follow along. Ushio, we get to see some stuff with her, obviously, with flashbacks, things like that. She's a really cool character. Miho's really good. All the other characters we end up seeing along the way, but the story is where this is at. If you love a good mystery story, and if you love your sci-fi stories, this blends it so very well. Top tier sci-fi mystery. It is such an entertaining thing that just makes you want to never put it down and never stop and just get to that end. Every week when it came out, I was reading it for a while. I fell off a little bit, but it is such a good series, and the just way it crafts it is absolutely amazing. But let's get on to number 9. For our next title, we have a horror manga. And no, it is not by Junji Ito, surprisingly. It is by a different well-known horror artist, Kazuo Umezu. And this is called Orochi. Now, the synopsis is basically, it is 9 short stories for this volume 1, where they're all interconnected based around this mysterious woman who keeps on forcing herself into different people's lives. Now, I don't know anything about it. I haven't read it. But the reason I'm going for it is because of Drifting Classroom. I absolutely love that series. I think it was really good. There's a couple themes that are a little bit dated in it, but overall, I think it is an absolutely amazing horror series. I love it so very much. And it's the same thing with Junji Ito, where I really only like Junji Ito's long stories and not really the short stories of his. That's just my personal opinion. I find there being a lot of plot holes, and it really annoys me with a lot of the character decisions from the ones that I've read. And maybe it's just the volumes that I've read of the short stories, and maybe there are other good short stories out there by Junji Ito, and I just haven't read them yet, but that's just my opinion. Kazuo Umez, I haven't tried out his short stories yet, and I like the fact that they're all interconnected, so it's gonna feel like one longer story that are wrapped around short stories, and I like that kind of idea, so I'm gonna give it an honest chance and give it a very good shot. Let it try out, see what this world does, and see if I end up enjoying it. Now, I'm very excited for this, obviously, because, like I said, Drifting Classroom, an absolutely amazing series. The art for Kazuo Umez is very Kazuo Umez. I love his old style art. Is really cool. I very much like it, and I very much enjoy his art. The faces and stuff are kind of funny sometimes because you can tell he's doing his best and it looks good, but just the character art that he chose, like his style, looks kind of funny with some of the faces, and I cannot wait to see how this series ends up turning out, though. It seems to be an absolutely solid manga that just is going to really bring in that thriller, scary, spooky stuff going on with it. And I do want to make a video about horror manga and stuff like that, and just talking about horror manga, because I have a lot of opinions on there. Don't know if all of them are good, but boy, do I have some opinions. But without further ado, let's get on to number 8. For number 8, we are going to be going into a series called A Galaxy Next Door. Now, this is by the creator of Sweetness and Lightning. The sole reason I'm going for this is just because it's made by Sweetness and Lightning, a series basically where a father doesn't have his wife anymore, but he still has his kid, and ends up going and meeting this girl who doesn't really have a lot, is close to her mom, but she's kind of distant and stuff, going away all the time, and they bond over the food they make, and it's just a really heartwarming family type of series. And now I cannot wait to see what this series does. And the synopsis goes as: ever since their father died, Ichiro Kuga has struggled to support his 2 younger siblings on nothing but a small inheritance and his passion for drawing manga. But it's harder to keep up with his growing responsibilities and deadlines, especially after his last 2 assistants quit to follow their dreams. Just as he's nearing his breaking point, the beautiful and scarily competent Shiori Goshiki applies to become his new assistant. But there's something almost otherworldly about Goshiki, and soon Kuga finds his reality turned upside down when she suddenly declares them engaged to be married. Well, that's a bit interesting of a twist at the end, and I'm really excited to see how that's going to end up panning out and seeing all the stuff for that. Something tells me that the dad's going to have like a dying wish, and he's going to be like, go marry my son or something like that. They're going to know each other or be childhood friends. I don't know, I'm just guessing. That's the stereotype that usually goes on. I do love my rom-coms. Boarding School Juliet, I don't know why I doubted myself on that. I was right. That's my favorite rom-com of all time. Actually, that's not true. My favorite rom-com of all time is My Monster's Secret, which I know a lot of people don't agree on me with, but I'm going to make a video about that, and I'm going to tell you guys why that is true, because it, without a doubt, it hits different than any other one out there for me personally. I love the art of Sweetness and Lightning, and I cannot wait to get into another story by him. I love how he crafted Sweetness and Lightning. I love the anime for it. I love the manga for it. It's just so good, and I want to just get into something that is like his stories, because I tried to get into a series that was similar to Sweetness and Lightning, and man, it just doesn't hit. It's not right. It just feels like ordering an Apple product off a Wish, and then when it comes in, it's nothing like an Apple product, and you're like, oh, why did I do that? I should have just bought an Apple device. And that's what I feel like with Sweetness and Lightning. Unless I go to the author, I'm not going to get that same feeling that I got from Sweetness and Lightning. So I'm hoping that I can find that feeling and just get that kind of world he created, and that warm fuzziness and just the amazingness that was in that series, and just get to experience it. That is A Galaxy Next Door. Let's get on to number 7. For number 7, we have Alice in Borderlands. Now, I really want to check this out, because if you guys have seen on Netflix, there is a live-action adaptation of it. And now, I know anime live-action adaptations are sometimes very bad, and most of the time very bad, but Alice in Borderland, in my opinion, was actually a very, very good live adaptation of a manga. I loved that series so much. It was so entertaining. One of the things that really pushed me further into the Death Game thing, it came out before Squid Games, so I was cool about the Death Game stuff before Squid Game came out, and I just love this series absolutely. It's so amazing. The tension, the games, it's just so fun. I love this Death Game so well. It is just one of the top tier Death Games in my opinion. It's so good. I love what's going on with it. The big twist at the end of season 1 for the Netflix series is so good, and I cannot wait to finally get to check it out in manga form and get to read it all, because I'm going to be collecting it all. It is so good. I love it. The art seems very, very different from the live action adaptation. The characters don't look anything like what I thought they would look like from the live action to what the manga does. I know there's going to be a difference, obviously, between drawings and the real thing, but man, they do not feel like anything close to each other. But I cannot wait for it. I love Death Games. If you love your Death Games, you love your dark, gritty Death Games and stuff like that, As the Gods Will, stuff like that, you're gonna love this series. Like, I promise you, you will love this series. It's so good. Squid Game, like, if you like Squid Games, check out the live action adaptation and see if you like Alice in Borderlands, and check that out first, obviously, if you have Netflix, and then you can see if you want to get into the manga, because I recommend getting into the manga after that, because you get the whole story after that, and man, can I not wait to get into that whole story. But let's get on to number 6. For number 6, we're going to be getting into candy and cigarettes. The synopsis is, when retired cop Hiragi Razo gets a lucrative gig working for a shadowy government organization known as the SS Agency, he is in for a rude awakening. The first day on his new job, he comes across this grisly murder and a lone little girl who's far from innocent. She's Suze Kazie Miharu. Sorry, I'm still not good at the Japanese pronunciations. I don't think I'll ever be good at it. An 11-year-old master assassin and his new partner. The arrangement is simple. She kills and he cleans up and hides any evidence. Sure, the pay is great, but how much blood is Razu willing to get on his hands? And this series sounds absolutely amazing. It is by the creator of Coppolan, if any of you guys have ever read that. A really cool series about Tokyo after a nuclear power plant or something like that. Like, some sort of nuclear radiation ends up affecting the entire town and absolutely destroying Tokyo. And these certain type of people are only allowed to go in there. There's a lot more that goes into the series. It's really entertaining and really cool. Not the most complete story, to be honest. There's a lot of plot holes and rush points and like friendship to the end type of stuff going on with it, fairy tale kind of aspects for it, but it's absolutely amazing. I kind of think of it more of a Fast and Furious type of movie. High action, high octane, kind of just shut your brain off, have a good time, and enjoy the series type of stuff. That's what Coppolan was for me, and I think that Candy and Cigarettes is going to kind of be around the same vein. We'll see how the artist and mangaka ends up doing for it, so I'm very excited to check this out and really get into the nitty-gritty for it, because it seems really entertaining. It's really, really cool between the dynamics of this 11-year-old assassin, because why not 11-year-old assassin? Why have anybody like the proper age that could actually be a professional assassin, and this old man doing it? But I cannot wait to get into it and check out this series, because the art is really cool from Coppolan and what I've seen of this series, and I love the story for Coppolan, even though it has all those holes and stuff in it. It's just a fun series. It was a really, really good read and a really, really good time. And I strongly recommend, if you guys like your dystopia type series, go check out Coppolan. And I think Candy and Cigarettes is also going to be a very good series, because I know a lot of people talked about it and said it was very good. So let's get on to number 5. We're down to one hand. For number 5, we're getting into a series that you guys have probably all heard of. I'm really gonna be surprised if you're into anime and you don't know this series, because it was one of the biggest things that came out in the previous year, and that is Tokyo Revengers is getting a physical release. Now, let me read the synopsis real quick, and then we'll get into my opinions on it. Watching the news, Hanagi Takamichi learns his junior high girlfriend, Tachibana Hinata, has died. A sudden shove sends him 12 years into the past to face the Tokyo Manji gang that once made his life hell, which is also responsible for Hinata's death in the present. To save Hinata and change the future, Takamichi must rise to the top of Kanto's most sinister delinquent gang. But things aren't so simple when he befriends the gang leader, Mikey. What turned Mikey from a petulant child to leader of the most infamous gang in Tokyo? Now, this series, like I said, you all know it. You all know Tokyo Revenge. If you guys don't know about it, I'm very surprised, but there you go. Now you know what it's about. It is such a cool, unique concept for a series. The art in the manga is so good. The story is so good and so supreme. Absolutely amazing. I'm gonna say something that's a little bit controversial, but I am giving it another shot. I'm getting volume 1, but for some reason, when I started reading this series, I just didn't get into it, but I know for a fact I love this. I'm gonna love this series. I just need to get into that mindset where I'm okay with a slower, more like methodical type of thing, because I thought this was gonna be high octane, high action, a lot of stuff, but there's a lot more that goes on, and there's a lot of story and setup and build for this thing before anything ends up getting to go, and I think I just need to be prepared for that, and I put my expectations into it being something else than what it was going to be, so it was on me. But I'm getting volume 1 because I know this is exactly my type of series, and I know I will love it as long as I give myself the chance to actually go back into it again, because this series is amazing. It's such a cool, like, time travel drama action series that is just right up my alley. It's like murder mystery, time travel, so there's some sci-fi stuff in it, action, drama. You get to see the Yakuza kind of thing going on, and it's just so cool. Like, everything about this manga is exactly what I want a manga to be. So I'm definitely going to be checking it out and really getting back into this series and giving it another chance, because I know I'm going to love this series, and there's nothing that's going to stop me, even if I have to force this stupid little brain up here to, like, to work. I don't care what I got to do. I will like this series because it is absolutely amazing. I love the concept and the art, and the characters are so cool, and everything about it is just amazing. And I really can't wait to finally give this thing another shot and really get back into it and fall in love with this series like I know I'm going to. But without further ado, let's get into number 4. Number 4, we have Dandadan. Now, the synopsis goes, Momo, Ayase, and Okurun are on opposite sides of the paranormal spectrum regarding what they believe in and what they don't. Their quest to prove each other wrong leads them down a path of secret crushes and paranormal battles they have to participate in to believe. So, basically, this story is like a supernatural action shonen. This is on Shonen Jump Plus, on Manga Plus. So if you guys want to check out the series and see if you like it, go to Shonen Jump Plus, check it out. I promise you, if you like your Shonen Jump series, it is absolutely amazing. It is one of the best shonen series that I'm reading at the moment. I am completely caught up with it because it's that good. The second it comes out, which I believe is today, it comes out on Monday, so today's Tuesday. Oops, I'm recording on Tuesday. I missed it, so I'm going back and reading it today. Good to know. Thanks for the reminder, top 10 list. This series is amazing. I love the art. It's some of the best art in all of manga that I have seen. It is on that top tier. It's on that another level of Berserk, One Piece, all that kind of stuff. I'm making that statement. I really believe that it has that kind of art to stand up with the greats on there. Like, I think the art is just that good, especially with what we saw in the most recent arc. Dude, oh my gosh. It's so good. It's absolutely amazing. It's just, whew. If you want a good manga series just for art alone, this is one of the best new manga series out there for amazing art. Just trust me on that. It is so very amazing. I cannot get over the art. I love the characters too. Okurun, Momo, and Mimi, I believe his name is so good. I love the characters in this series. They're so entertaining. They're so awesome to follow. They're so good, and this story is just so fun to watch and watch what's going on with it, and watch them fight different yokais and like Japanese gods and like demons and all this kind of stuff that's end up going on for this world is so much fun to watch and so cool, and it's genuinely funny too at times. There's so much good action and hardcore and darker parts, but it still has great comedy in there too. It really matches that darkness and comedy. So that dark and light kind of aspect for the series that doesn't really make you super depressed, but doesn't make you overly happy. It's just blends a shonen series, and obviously I know it's Jump Plus, so it's for a little bit older audience, so it's more tailored towards me, which is probably why I like it so very much. But it just really blends that perfect part of funny and serious, that old and young type of aspect to it, that shonen and adult thing. It just blends it perfectly into one of the best mangas that I've been reading ever. I love it so much. It is just so entertaining. The characters, the art, the story. all the enemies, all the side characters, everything about it is just so cool and amazing, and I love every single part of it. The characters that you don't want to like, they really do a good job of making you hate them, making them just really seem like douchebags, but it's just such an amazing series. Everything about it is so good, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you like your action fighting series, if you like your shonen series, just trust me and give this a shot. It is so worth it, and you will love it. I promise you, you will not regret reading this series. I cannot say enough good things about it. It is absolutely amazing. But without further ado, we're getting on to our top 3. For number 3, we have a Shonen Jump series titled Sakamoto Days. Now, this is coming out currently in Shonen Jump. It is starting its physical release very, very soon. And trust me, pick this up if you get the chance. This is along the lines of Dandadan, where it is, even though it's in Shonen Jump, it definitely feels like it's for an older audience in Shonen Jump. It is so good. The action is so good. It surrounds a guy called Sakamoto, who used to be the #1 assassin in the entire world. And then one day he ends up giving up that for a family, but you know, old habits die hard, and it comes back to haunt him a little bit, and we get to see an assassin at the beginning try to kill him. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's one of my favorite characters, and the fact that it's slipping my mind really kind of annoys me a little bit. But basically, he is a telepath. He can read minds, and he ends up, instead of at the end getting killed by Sakamoto or killing Sakamoto, he ends up befriending him and becoming part of the family of Sakamoto. And it's just a really heartwarming yet wacky and crazy series that goes on and has absolutely amazing art, top tier, so very good for the series. It fits the tone of the series so very well. The characters in this show are supremely wacky and amazing and unique, to the point where it's just like everybody feels like their own thing, and it's so fun and awesome to see these characters, their motives, and all that craziness that goes inside this series. It is such a unique story for the characters, not the story itself, which is just actually kind of, the story itself is a little bit unique, I would say. I haven't seen a lot of this kind of wraparound. I know obviously the fighting thing isn't anything new, but watching an assassin trying to get away from that assassin life, but going back in the, there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of like connections and stuff all getting tied. I haven't personally seen a lot of it. I'm sure there's stuff out there, and it's not the first time this has been done, but it really feels unique in a lot of different ways, and it really feels like it's in its own world and its own story, and it really feels really, really good, and it just is a perfect shonen. Honestly, like I said, for Dandadan, it matches that seriousness, wackiness, and funniness all wrapped in one. It's so good. It's probably, in my opinion, my favorite series that's on Shonen Jump right now for the magazine. It is so amazing, so supremely good. And if you guys get the chance, definitely read this. You like your action, you like your fighting, you like wackiness, you want something unique for a Shonen Jump series, check this out, because you're going to get something different. Obviously not Chainsaw Man different, but it's still going to be very, very good, and you're going to love it. I promise you. It is absolutely amazing. So, without further ado, we're going to get on to number 2. For number 2, we have that dark mystery series that I was telling you guys about earlier. Now, this is called Shadow House. Now, this is a series where I actually don't want to read the description. I would probably to give a better idea of what's going on, but genuinely, I think this story is better going in blind. Genuinely, I think as you discover stuff yourself is the best part about this series. I'll give you guys the briefest kind of thing that's going on, basically kind of like the first chapter kind of stuff, but basically, it follows Emilico, who is known as a living doll that serves a house called the Shadow House, where everybody in the house is all covered in shadow. Like, they're just shadow people, and they basically put soot up everywhere, and her job is to clean the soot and take care of her master within the house. Now, that is all I'm going to give you, because, trust me, although that sounds boring, to be honest, like, I'm following a maid's everyday kind of stuff, there is so much more that goes in this series, and so many more mysteries about what a living doll is, what they're doing there, what the Shadow House is, what is going on within the Shadow House, who is Emilico, how was she made. All these different questions are just wrapped up immediately and just like put out there and being like, you get to unwrap this for the series. And I just, whew, it is a heater of a series. I love the art. I think it's really good. And it's the story. I just love mystery series. I absolutely love darker mystery series. And it just is wrapped in, like, at first in such this, like, fluffy, warm kind of like series where it's just gonna be like lighthearted comedy, and just as time goes on, you start to get to see more stuff. Like the mask just falls off a little bit each chapter, each little bit. It comes down a little bit more, and you're like, what's really going on here? What's happening right now? And you get to see like this little darker tones throughout of it. Oh man, it crafts it so well. I absolutely love this series. I think it is one of the best series that is out at the moment. I think the anime absolutely butchered it. From like I started, I quit after the first episode because they skipped like most of the manga's like beginning parts, and they completely like redid the story to how they wanted to make it, and just disregarded the manga. And I think the manga did a better job than the anime. That's just my personal opinion, my elitist manga taste coming out, be like, just read the manga, it's so much better than the anime. But they did at the very least. I know the beginning part is not at all what happens in the manga, but I can tell you right now, give this thing a proper chance and you will love it. It is on another level. It is so amazing. If you love your mystery series, you love your thriller, drama, darker tones, and just like this really cool fluffiness that's just wrapped, like as you start to like peel off that fluffiness, you get to see this like really big dark amount of like dark clouds under here, and just as you keep pulling it away, you get more pieces, and it just really is gratifying to watch this story unfold and watch you and have you connect the puzzle pieces together and just put this thing together like Pepe Sylvia, the meme where he's like got all the pins and stuff like that kind of thing, where you're just doing all that and you're the crazy guy trying to connect all the dots and everything. And it's just so good, so amazing, and I cannot recommend this series enough. Definitely read Shadow House. And without further ado, I'm very excited to get into number one, because this is a series I've been waiting to say for so very long to talk about and be able to tell you guys about. But are you all ready for the number one? So I just realized this now, but apparently my camera has been dead for this entire video, pretty much for the whole thing. So I hope you guys have been enjoying however I edited this video. I hope this mess has been entertaining in some way, but I guess let's get on to number one. And that's man, I'm really not happy about what's going on right now. That sucks. I had this whole thing set up. This is like an hour long thing I gotta edit down now and do all this kind of stuff. I was gonna be lazy. Now I can't be lazy anymore. I'm just joking, but here we're going to be getting into the number one series of 2022, in my opinion, what I am most looking forward to. And without further ado, drumroll please, March comes in like a lion. Now this series, what can I say? That man, the amount of praise I'm about to give this series is gonna be unreal, simping on another level. Let me read you guys the synopsis real quick. Having reached professional status in middle school, Rei Kiriyama is one of the few elite in the world of shogi. Due to this, he faces an enormous amount of pressure, both from the shogi community and his adoptive family. Seeking independence from his tense home life, he moves into an apartment in Tokyo. As a 17-year-old living on his own, Rei tends to take poor care of himself, and his reclusive personality ostracizes him from his peers in school and at the shogi hall. However, not long after his arrival in Tokyo, Rei meets Akira Hinata and Momo Kawamoto, a trio of sisters living with their grandfather, who owns a traditional wagashi shop. Akiri, the oldest of the three, is determined to combat Rei's loneliness and poorly sustained lifestyle with motherly hospitality. The Kawamoto sisters, coping with past tragedies, also share with Rei a unique familiar bond that he has lacked for most of his life. As he struggles to maintain himself physically and mentally through his shogi career, Rei must learn how to interact with others and understand his own complex emotions. Now, this series, man, you want to talk about heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. This series is on another level. I can't tell you the amount of times I probably cried during this series, during the anime, obviously, with the 3 seasons being out. Man, did this series break me and just tear me down. I am like, does it make you really feel something that you never thought you could feel before? This world that is just crafted, and watching this man go through all his kind of problems and hardships and struggles and pains, and just learning to heal and learning to love, learning to just become himself and become a better person, and just all these really cool things. And then watching the sisters and their past struggles and their kind of bonds that they have to form themselves, and how they have to grow up, and just all this type of stuff wrapped together in one of the most amazing stories I've ever seen in anime and manga. One of my favorite stories of all time. One of the most memorable and just unique stories has ever come out. Rei is one of the best characters I've ever followed in a manga. Genuinely a broken character that's just learning to be himself and learning to heal and learning to feel, and just getting all of that and just becoming a better man and learning to feel and love and get over all his hardships and the struggles and all the stuff in his life. And same thing with these sisters, watching them go through this kind of thing and watching their struggles and see how they've turned out. Watching each kind of age group for the sisters, so the middle, younger, and older sister, how they fill in their role and what they do for the family. And the art direction for the series is just so good. But it genuinely, it just goes back to the story and how amazing this story is, and just how much this story makes you want to be a better person, and just not only see him get better, but notice your own problems and want yourself to get better. It just feels like a self-help guide to the kind of struggles you are in life. And even though it's in the world of shogi, and it's like, who really gives a crap about any shogi or like anything like that? But it's just like, it's so much more than shogi. Like, I know he is surrounded by shogi, and that's what he does for them a lot of the series and does for most of the things, and it revolves a lot about that. But you get to see, like, it's just so much more about him and the human condition rather than shogi, but it surrounds this world of shogi to show kind of that human condition with people who want to become professionals and can't, people who have been doing something for their whole life and just like have given up and don't really care about it anymore, people who like, just so much more goes on in the world of shogi that this world creates, that it's just more about the human and less about shogi. And watching him with that kind of sports instinct really hits me personally, being someone who played basketball a lot and really loved basketball and has that competitive instinct. This really just shows what it takes to be kind of a pro and what the world of professionals is, and like maybe less of the glamour that goes onto it and the kind of the stuff that people have to struggle through and face in that type of a world. And just watching all this kind of stuff and the different storylines get weaved together, and watch all these different characters try to heal and become better and work on themselves. It's just amazing and beautiful, and one of the best things that I've ever read or watched. Not read, I'm excited to read. It's going to be one of the best things I've ever read, but it's just one of the most beautiful stories ever crafted. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Whew! This is over an hour long. I gotta edit down. This is one of the longer type of videos, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys ended up making it to the end, thank you for struggling through. You are a tough soldier. You have stormed a front that I don't think many people have made it through, but thank you guys so much for getting to the end of the video if you did. I really appreciate it. What are your guys' top manga for this year? You guys agree with my list? You guys have your own that you're looking forward to? What are the manga that you guys want to read for this year? What are the manga that you're looking forward to? Is my list any good? Is it pretty trash? I don't know, but I hope to hear from you guys. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel that I deserve it. If you guys think that I deserve that kind of shout and, you know, that kind of, you know, reward, I'll really appreciate it, and I very much love it if you guys decide to do that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate you guys sticking around and watching till the end and just watching even 5 seconds of this thing. But thank you all so much. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, and as always, I shall see you in another video.